Everybody, I'm Mihidu Rajaratna, connecting from White Space. Welcome to our second of the webinar series of on post-COVID business transformation, uh, business transformation, and strategy development. Today, we have already done a presentation previous time. And today what we'll do is we will build on that presentation and give you the part that you will look at practically how you do things to manage the existing disruptive situation. So let me share the presentation. Give me a minute. Like, I'm online, yeah. Give us a minute. Sharing screen is the Give us a moment. We are trying to get some technical difficulties overcome. Give us a minute. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Sorry, apologies for those technical difficulties. We are on new white space, the second part of the webinar that we held recent past, and now we are on the COVID recovery environment. So welcome back for the value-added second session, and we'll continue on. Now, as you remembered, those who participated for the first session, we talk about COVID recovery environment, not COVID post-COVID environment. A lot of people talk about post-COVID, but we are yet in the COVID recovery environment. And talking about COVID recovery environment, you have already experienced because most of you all are working, and we see a lot of disruption, lot of uncertainty, and lot of new ways of doing things. The old ways are going out. So let us discover in this webinar. I will tell you how to manage key domains of your business or the organization. That is what I am going to tell you. Last time I talked about how to revisit strategy, how to relook at things, how to read the environment, how to manage disruption. And those things will be discussed today in detail. And let's go back what has happened. Now if you look at the from August to September, the disruption has created many opportunities. There are many businesses that have sprung up, new businesses have come up. With the government policies of protection and no air travel, and lots of local business and local production of products and services. Remember, when you say local production and both products and services have come up new, and people are no longer in the comfort zone, but people are, if you look at, as human beings, we are looking for a convenient and safety in priority. So we are in convenient and safety zones, instead not on comfort zones. So we are on convenient and safety zones and not on comfort zones. Business continuity is become priority, and it runs on contingencies. Today some businesses run on daily basis, some businesses run on monthly basis, and there are a lot of issues they experience, which we'll tackle later in this presentation. Now you have heard this famous term called planning cycles. Though there are no more planning cycles, instead, though you say it is a planning cycle meeting, we are having lots of review cycles. Because environment is uncertain, we want to get things done, accomplishments and things like that. So we want to get the review cycles. So there are a lot of review cycles, some are weekly reviews. You're looking at business goals. You are towards the end of your calendar year, if your calendar year is a business year, and you are towards the 2/3 of the financial year, if your business year is a financial year, a lot of pressures on. And in normal life, we are looking at a quarantine life with restriction. We don't go to gyms. Some people do exercise at home. Some people have restriction on public behavior with masks, with gloves and things like that. So we are looking at the quarantine life with restrictions have become a reality. So if you look at the mindset of people, we are all human beings. We are looking at freedom in terms of safety and protection. And if you look at the business, it tells us it's a continuous change management. Every aspect of the business has to be changed or modified according to the environment. It is not the pre-COVID business environment that we experience in. Today we are having a completely different environment. So when you say change management, lots of people do changes for sake of changes, and a lot of people do changes in terms of crisis management. A lot of people try to solve problems, listed problems. Those are priorities without looking at the larger picture of why the problem has sprung up. So I am sticking to 4 areas for easy understanding and easy comprehension, and to have the clarity of the whole purpose. I have restricted key areas. These are the key domains of any business. May it be online, may it be offline, may it be irrespective of the industry, irrespective of the size of the business. Any business has these 4 key elements. Number 1, people. A lot of business leaders have put people back in this COVID recovery environment. I'll tell you how and why. And the second priority is the resources you have. Third is the strategy overall, the business strategy, and the organization in terms of the organization structure and how it is configured to do business. So let's continue. If you look at most of the organizations, the moment the COVID-19 environment came into being, when it became a reality, invariably they look at cost. This is how most of the business organizations, even in Sri Lanka, operates. They look at the bottom line. They are not looking at the top line. They are not looking at even the modern triple bottom line: people, environment, and profitability. So they overwhelmingly focus on the cost, and they forget that they have accumulated wealth over period using these people, and the people who are given the skill set and their knowledge set to the prosperity of the organization have been marginalized. I say many organizations disturb most important element, that is people, by cutting down this conventional approach of salaries and cutting down other perks and cutting down the cost in certain areas of welfare of the staff and so on. This is a more of a traditional way. A lot of finance people will ask, otherwise how you would do it? There's a way of negotiating with people. There's a way of promising of people. I suggested in my consultancy capacity, one of the organization came and asked me, if you suggest, how do you do without salary cutting? We don't have money to pay people. I said, go back to those people. Those people are the people who have served you, and ask them, okay, I have a financial difficulty. Be genuine about it as a CEO or managing director. And I will not cut your salary, but I will pay you for next 6 months half of your salary. But I'll give you a promise, letter of promising, letter with a promise that I will pay your 6 month arrears when I get the money, probably next April. I mean, people would have been very receptive to that kind of appeal, in when you are in crisis. People would have helped you together, because that kind of a promising would have given assurance to people. That is the psychological contract between people and the organization. Some organizations have overlooked it and today they are suffering, and some people have left those organizations, and especially some critical skills leave organization where the skills are necessary, and organization suffers. I would like to ask those organizations, are your where is your accumulated wealth? On a contingency or as a contingency, you could have used 10% of your accumulated wealth in order to compensate the people, look after people. That's very fun. That's why I titled this slide "Penny Wise Pound Foolish," and most of the organizations are getting the penalties for that today, if you ask. And second, the traditional approach or the conventional approach, I hate this, overwhelming controls on resources, particularly on finance. You restrict this, you restrict that without having a proper examination why we allocated these resources, and budgets are concerned. People can't move, people can't implement. Some logistics are hindered, some operations are hindered, some operations are partially performed. One should not do that. You need to revisit your budget. Probably you have to prepare a completely new budget from this point onwards, from 1st of September to December. That's the interim budget. Probably I call it interim budget, and that's the interim budget will tell you how the organization will utilize resources, particularly finance, right? How the organization will utilize the resources in terms of material to production, how the organization will use resources like communication, like telephone, internet, all those things. So probably every organization needs an interim budget, which will spell out how do we spend, how do we allocate resources for the next 4 months, September, October, November, December. Let's look at a rolling review, or a review at the end of November, for us to plan for the December, January, February, April. This is what you call evolving tactic in order to tackle a very uncertain and disruptive environment. A lot of finance qualified guys don't realize this. They have their strict budget controls, they have their accounting standards, they are completely too dogmatic about those standards and forgetting the behavioral aspects of the organization. That is very, very pity. And the most important thing is that people fail. Organization here, particularly CEOs and the management committees, have failed to establish a contingency plan as a change management plan. Okay, we have a crisis. What do? How do we move forward? What are the things that we need to change? Whether we need to change the organization objectives, business objectives, strategies, whether we need to change the department objectives, whether we need to change the volume objective, financial objectives. People, yet I have not seen in many organizations, they don't have change management plan. Instead, they continue to have crisis management. Why they have crisis management? Let me tell you. Still, these organizations are continuing the same budget that they have prepared before the COVID arrival. Now how can you do that? Because the environment has changed and they continue to have the same business plan. So invariably you will have a lot of meetings in terms of crisis management. The next one is that nobody has sat down, taken time. Everybody has been in a hurry to achieve the targets, missed targets during March, April, May, June. Everybody wants to get the missed 4 months targets. Nobody will get those targets. Mind you, ask any organization, I will bet you will not get targets. Why? Targets means sales. Sales means volumes. Volumes based on consumption. No human going to consume all 3 meals in the night just because he has missed the breakfast and the lunch. Nobody is going to take breakfast, lunch and dinner together in the night. That will not happen. A lost consumption opportunity is a loss. Now you need to plan what is the consumption level at the current in the market for your products and services. Then you have to plan that interim budget accordingly. So this is why I say this absence of a review on the business strategy, overall business strategy, which you have established in 2019, probably in March, and you are yet to review that. Instead of continuation of the pre-COVID strategies, some people still have the continuation of stick to the old strategy and with few modification. This is called repair work. This is called tinkering work. Tinkering work on strategy will not work. I can give you 100% assurance on that. Believe me, we have talked about this managing in COVID environment. I will not spend time on that, but I will spend little time on that. 2 minutes on this particular map. This is called the strategic drift. Those who participated remember this, how organization fall into a particular problem because as a result of they do not change the strategy with the changes in the environment. So therefore the cause, we call it strategic drift. Now if you really look at situation where Sri Lankan business organization, most of them are on this flux situation. They don't know where to head. They don't know where the environment is heading. They are in this particular situation. So one need to understand from this point onwards, how do we move forward? You remember those curves, how where will end it up. Now either your organization must be here or somewhere here. So you need to, by analyzing your current situation and consumption, you need to analyze that. So I have been talking about change management. This particular webinar as well as last webinar I have talked about change management. So as I mentioned, your focus should be in 4 distinctive domains. That is people, resources, strategy, and structure. Structure means the organization. Let's take people. Evaluate the people you have. Look at the critical skills. All right, and then you need to take their skills according to the consumption pattern and changing environment of business. You need to reposition them with new or additional responsibilities, looking after them and give them new responsibilities for next 4 months or 5 months or maximum 6 months. Remember, this is a disruptive environment. We don't know how the COVID-19 going to turn it back again. You know, all the other countries in the world except Sri Lanka is experiencing devastating results in terms of COVID control. So people you need to look after in terms of skill, knowledge that they have. Probably they have to be assigned with new responsibilities, new tasks, new assignment. Probably you need to have a lot of teams instead of 1 or 2 teams, and you have to empower them with decision making to make decisions at the business environment. There are a lot of changes that you need to do. Resources, particularly finance and the supply chain. Remember, a lot of people have disturbed their supply chain. Why do I say so? They have disturbed the supply chain by delaying payments without having communication. When you're having a crisis situation, a very disruptive environment, when you are uncertain about the future, the only weapon, only tool, only strategic tool that you have with you is communication. You need to communicate to all your suppliers, large or small or medium, all suppliers, and tell them, okay, this is what it is, this is my situation, and this is what is my requirement, and this is my outstanding to you, this is my payment plan, and this is how we are going to make. You need to give them some sort of assurance next 3 to 4 months. Remember, they also depend on their working capital on your payment settlement. So you need to have this, you need to respect and recognize and reward this interdependency, rather than trying to make decision and delaying payment arbitrarily and independently. That is not going to work in the modern world. Remember, I talk about the network organization. So then one of the key elements of the network is your suppliers. If you delay the utility bills, what will happen? Your services will be cut. So you have to have priorities. The other part is that when you have resources, you need to have 40% to 30% to 40% prioritizing your business continuation, right? Like payback, payroll, you have to keep some provision, and also utility bills, you have to keep some provisions. Rest of the finance, you need to plan accordingly with payment plans for each supplier. Otherwise, you will get into a major working capital problem. Remember, in a crisis situation for organization, it's not about profit management, it's about working capital management. Because before you run, you have to breathe. People try to run without breathing. What will happen? They will get faint. Same thing will result to the organization. Third one is the strategy. As I said, you need to revisit the strategy in terms of 3 key elements. Number one, customer. Look at him, how he has changed. What are his behavioral responses? How did he change his consumption? Whether he has given up on consumption, whether he have alternate products and services. Then the market, how does the market has changed? Whether there are lots of offline marketers have become now online marketers. There are lots of people offering the same products and services that you offer offline, physically, online. Sometimes very cost-effective price. You need to look at even my recent market visit. I visited about 5 main fishmongers, fish stores in my area. Kotte, Battaramulla, Palavatta, Talavatugoda, all those areas. And I asked them simple talk, because I was a sales rep. I can always get into a conversation with Mudalali or simple store. I asked them, how is business? And they say their business is a little down, but business is there. I said, where the business have gone? No, sir, now people are buying even the fish from internet. We have come to that point. Whoever thought people will buy fish from internet? Whoever thought people will buy from fish online? Who will ever thought that people will buy vegetables online? Who has taken your share? The new player who has come online. He has given facility, he has given payments, he has no problem of traveling, and the fish is delivered for a nominal premium price. So you need to look at market very seriously, and that will become your competition as well. And finally, to support all people resources strategy, you need to re-evaluate your structures. Some organizations are still having huge structures. They are not moving from their traditional functional structural organization. Functional structural organizations are dying. I mean, the COVID-19 have hit the fixed the last nail on the structural organizations in 2020. You need to reconfigure your organization in terms of processes that can be very closer to customer and reduce your cost. So you need to place your people, as I just mentioned earlier, in different responsibilities and accountabilities. Traditional designations will go out. Traditional job roles may go out. Relook at everything. In white space, we are helping a lot of people to look at these things. If you feel that your organization needs help, you can always contact white space. We are willing to help you working with. And when you're focusing these 4 areas, The locus must be for business continuation for next 3 to 4 months, not more than that. It's a cycle. Remember, it's not a planning cycle, it's going to be a review cycle. So, as I said, the key change from pre-COVID structural organization to a networking organization, right? You may have not very big functions, you may have cross-functional teams to face the changes. That you might have to continue for next 3 to 4 months, on short-term basis, probably next 8 months. And as I said last time, change management of the sudden strategic drift. This is the strategic drift. Now we are on post recovery of COVID-19 environment. We are still living in that. We have to live with the new reality, and you need to look at this evolving needs of the consumers and plan accordingly. And now we are on the time for review and discussions. Before we get into review and discussions, we can tell you, we can bring this same session and last session to your relevant to your company industry. We can come and visit your organization if you invite us, and do the same session and have an interactive session on discussion. And we also can present this same subject topic in relevance to forums like social networks, like social club like Lion, the Rotary, or any other club. We can conduct the same presentation in both languages, Sinhalese and English. And we will share this presentation on FB immediately after this session. And also we can have customized session to your management, your boards, management committees, making it relevant to your business and industry. And also we can have customized workshop for all types of businesses, including self-business. So you can contact the one on this one. And now we are on to the discussion and questions if you have. And if you also can direct me the discussions on the questions and discussions on the Whitespace website. And also most of you know my page. You can always direct questions on that. Any questions I would like to hear? And I just forgot to say that Facebook and LinkedIn also has the same presentation, and you can post those questions and queries on there. So we'll give you another small time for question and answers, because we are about to complete our live session for today. We will hope that you can interact with us on a future date. Thank you very much, and I am Hindu Rajaratna from Whitespace. Thank you so much.